Jadon Sancho started for England in their match against Ukraine in their quarter-final bout in the Euro Championships. It was his first time starting. He hasn't had any game time prior to this. And that's one position for England that there's still uncertainty as to which player must play, because no player has nailed it down. If you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel right now so you can see more content of this quality. They started with Foden. Foden didn't do too well at all. Then they gave Saka around, and Saka, you can say, performed better than Foden. And now they've given Jadon Sancho, and you can still say that Saka performed the better out of Jadon Sancho and Phil Foden. So much so that you're getting people like Gary Neville coming out and saying in their semi-final game against Denmark, Saka needs to come back, because Phil Foden hasn't stated a claim for that case. Neither has Jadon Sancho. He performed, they gave him 90 minutes, and it was an average performance from Jadon Sancho. It wasn't a magnificent performance. It wasn't even a good performance. I think it was an average performance. And I was listening to the commentary. Jermaine Genius was on commentary, and he was saying, oh, Jadon Sancho needs to come and rip this game apart the way he's ripped the Bundesliga, and he hopes Jadon Sancho can do that in the Premier League as well. One thing we have to understand, guys, is that the Bundesliga Jadon Sancho and the Premier League Jadon Sancho that we're going to get is going to be two different Jadon Sanchos. The Borussia Dortmund Jadon Sancho and the Manchester United Jadon Sancho is going to be two different Jadon Sanchos. And there's two reasons for that, guys. Number one is that the Bundesliga is an easier league than the Premier League. In the Bundesliga, they give you time and space on the ball to do what you want to. In the Premier League, there is no time on the ball. The minute you lift your head, you've got a defender that's staring at you face to face that wants that ball. There's no time, there's no space in the Premier League. The Bundesliga is much slower than the Premier League. The Premier League is a fast-paced league. It's a much more physical league. And they are on top of you in an instant in the Premier League. The Bundesliga is less tactical than the Premier League. In the Premier League, even the 20th team has tactics. Even the 20th team has a game plan to nullify you, and they try to execute that game plan to perfection. And some of them actually do. And in the Premier League as well, the teams study each other, and they also study individual players. That's why for instance, Mason Greenwood, 3/4 of the season that I just passed was mediocre from Greenwood, because the team studied Greenwood. When he first came onto the scene 2 seasons ago, no one knew what this boy was about, and so that's why he took the league by storm, because he was just scoring goals. No one knew what the boy was about. Then they studied Greenwood, and they saw, okay, Mason Greenwood, the only thing he wants to do is shoot. Whenever he gets the ball, his first thought is to shoot. So what they done was they cut off the shooting lanes. They did not allow Greenwood to shoot. As a result of that, they nullified him, and 3/4 of the season was mediocre for Greenwood. The last quarter of the season was, he picked his game up and he performed well. But that's my example of how teams in the Premier League study individual players so that they can nullify those individual players. And if you nullify those players, you're going to nullify the team. And they will study Jadon Sancho as well. They are not going to allow Jadon Sancho to come and do the things that he was doing in the Bundesliga. First of all, as I said, the number one reason is he won't do it because the Bundesliga is an easier league than the Premier League. And they're going to study his game, and they're going to see what's his strengths and what's his weaknesses, and they're going to play on his weaknesses. The second reason is that he's no longer playing for Dortmund, he's playing for Manchester United. Dortmund have a world-class system. Dortmund get the best out of their players, and there's some instances where they make their players perform on levels that the players are not at, and they make their players look better than what they really are in some instances. And that's down to their system, and that's what you want in a system, guys. You want your system to get the best out of your players. That's what you want out of a system, and Borussia Dortmund got a world-class system. Every player that goes there, they look twice the player that they probably are. They perform to levels that you never knew this player could reach, and that's every player, guys. But that's not the case with Man United. Man United got a total opposite system or lack of system to Borussia Dortmund, where the minute the players come to Man United and put on that red shirt, we make them worse than what they really are. You just have to look at Harry Maguire. Look at the performances he's putting out for England. We don't get that Harry Maguire at Manchester United because of our lack of system that highlights Maguire's weaknesses and diminishes his strengths. And that's for every player at Man United, guys. That's for every player with Man United. Man United make the players worse than what they really are. And that's why the minute they leave Man United, they become the players that they are. And they do much better. Case in point, Romelu Lukaku. Players like Darmian, even players like Ashley Young, they become better players. Memphis Depay, and I can go on and on and on. They become better players because Manchester United don't have a system that's conducive for these players to flourish. And so Jadon Sancho is swapping shirts, the yellow shirt that got a world-class system that gets the best out of every player, for the red shirt that makes players look worse than what they really are. So with these two reasons, guys, you are not going to get that Jadon Sancho that's leading in assists and that's a top goal scorer in his position. You're not going to get that Jadon Sancho. You will still get a good player, but he's not going to be that Borussia Dortmund player. So manage your expectations, lower your expectations for Jadon Sancho. Let your expectations be realistic, guys. You're not going to get the top assister. You're not going to get that guy. For the most part, the Jadon Sancho that you see for England, that's going to be the Jadon Sancho that you see for Man United. That's what you're going to see. And just to read some of his stats that he performed for against Ukraine. He played 90 minutes. He played the whole game. He had 60 touches. His pass accuracy was 92.9%, which is very good. But let's face it, guys, when you're a winger, your pass accuracy should be there. The minute you have a winger that's pass accuracy is less than 85%, that's a worrying sign, because these guys are not making passes to split defenses. They're not making through balls. They're not chipping the ball over defenses. They're not playing risky passes. Everything is safe for them. The only thing they're doing is crossing the ball as a winger, if you want to consider that as somewhat of a pass to lose possession. But they're not making those passes as midfielders. To have a midfielder that can score 92% in pass accuracy and that's not passing sideways, that's a fantastic midfielder. And that's what Toni Kroos gives you. That's what Thiago Alcantara, they give you that. But for Jadon Sancho as a winger, that's what you expect. You expect that pass accuracy. But he's a very tidy footballer. He's a very neat footballer. He's composed on the ball. And he's composed on the ball as a result of his technical ability. He's got a high technical ability. You look at his first touch, you look at how he receives the ball, his body positioning when he receives the ball, everything is A1. He's a very technical player, and that's what Man United need. We don't have many technical players, but we can bring Jadon Sancho where you see his technical ability to receive the ball under pressure, his first touch, everything is A1. And he's a neat player. He plays the simple passes, but the effective passes. You know, his passes are always going to the intended player. It's never going out for throws. It's never going out for maybe a goal kick or something. His passes go to the player that it's intended to. He can pass with his left foot. He can pass with his right foot. He's a very tidy and neat player. He made 0 key passes. That's why I'm saying, guys, for this pass accuracy of 92%, you know, for a winger, that's what it should be, because they are not making many key passes. They're not splitting open defenses. 0 key passes. He 0 out of 1 crosses, so he tried to cross the ball and it wasn't successful, be it as it may. 1 out of 1 long ball. 4 out of 6 dribbling attempts, which is good. It's good. You know, he is a dribbler. He picks the ball up, and there's moments where he'll run to the fullback, but then there's a lot of moments where he'll drift inside, and if defenders are around him, he will dribble past them because he has dribbling capacity. His dribbling skills are quite good, and he has a variation of skills as well. And that's what I'm excited to see, because we've got the master dribbler in Paul Pogba, who's one of the best dribblers in the world, with regards to his skill set. One of the best. Then you've got Anthony Martial that can also dribble, and now we've got Sancho that can also dribble. So this is exciting. 6 out of 11 ground duels, which is average, but you don't expect Jadon Sancho to be winning many of those ground duels. 1 out of 2 aerial duels, lost possession 10 times, committed a foul once, was fouled once, offside once, made 1 interception, made 1 tackle. So overall, it was an average game. As you can hear, those numbers, those are average numbers. It was an average game from Jadon Sancho. But that's what United are going to expect. That's what United are going to get, from Jadon Sancho, is not this average performance. Don't get me wrong. He will perform good. He will perform well. But it will be the England Jadon Sancho that we get, and not the Borussia Jadon Sancho. But one thing, guys, I want to commend Jadon Sancho on is his ability to play in all phases of the game. You know, he knows Jadon Sancho can play against a low block. He can also play against a team that gives him space. He can drop deep, and he can also run in behind. He can go one-on-one with the defenders and take them on one-on-one in the hope to beat them. And then he can also link up the play and play 1-2s of players and play give and goes with players. And that's his ultimate strength, is playing give and goes with players. He's a playmaker. He's a playmaker. He's an overall total footballer. And that's what he's going to bring to Man United, is that total football performance. And that's what we have been lacking on the right wing, because Mason Greenwood does not give us that. Mason Greenwood's all-round game is still poor. It's still poor. The only thing Mason Greenwood wants to do, as I said earlier, is shoot. And Mason Greenwood's all-round game is poor because of two reasons, guys. Because of one, he's young. So that comes with age. You know, it comes with age, it comes with experience, it comes with you understanding football. It comes with you training, your coaches coaching you and teaching you as well. So it's his age, number one. And number two, it's because he's a striker. So as a striker, if you put in a striker on the wing, he's not going to give you that performance of a winger that a winger will give you, He's not going to give you that. A striker wants to get the ball and score and shoot. That's the first instinct, and that's Mason Greenwood's instinct. So that's what he's going to give us. He's going to give us goals because he's a striker. He's not going to give us a total performance that a winger should be giving us because he's not a winger. But that's what you're going to get with Jadon Sancho. He's going to give us a total performance on that right wing. As I said, he has the ability to run in behind. He also has the ability to drop deep and hold the ball. He has the ability to take players on 1v1. He also has the ability to play give and goes and 1 and 2s with players. He's going to give us a total performance because he's a total footballer, and he's going to be a playmaker on the right side as well. So that's what he's going to give us, and I'm excited to see that, guys. As I said, I've managed my expectations. I have lowered my expectations when it comes to Jadon Sancho. I don't expect him to do what he was doing at Dortmund. We've signed players from Dortmund before. Many clubs have signed players from Dortmund before, and very few of those players have ever reached those heights that they reached for Dortmund. I'll give you a point of the United's players that we've signed. We've signed Shinji Kagawa. He flopped at Man United. We signed Henrik Mkhitaryan. He flopped at Man United. He could not repeat what he was doing at Dortmund. Henrik Mkhitaryan was the top assister in Europe in the season that we signed him from Dortmund. Top assist in Europe at Dortmund. We signed him for Manchester United. Everybody was saying, oh, he's going to create chance of the chance. Oh, what a wonderful footballer he is. The boy couldn't even complete a through ball. He couldn't even make a through ball at Man United. Mario Götze left Dortmund, went to Bayern Munich, flopped at Bayern Munich. Ousmane Dembele left Dortmund to Barcelona, still flopping right now at Barcelona. So this is what you have to understand with Dortmund. As I said earlier, Dortmund have a world-class system that it doesn't matter which players they put in that system. The players thrive because of that system. But when you take them out of that system, it's almost like you're taking a fish out of water, and the players are a shadow of the players. Now, I'm not saying Jadon Sancho is going to be a shadow of that player. No, he's too good to be a shadow. And everything about him, his overall football ability, is too good to be a shadow of the player he was at Dortmund. But he's not going to repeat those numbers. He's not going to repeat those performances. And that's what you have to manage. I've managed that. Also, I want to speak a bit on Marcus Rashford and compare it with Sancho as well. When Marcus Rashford came on for England, guys, Marcus Rashford's being used as a squad player for England. He's not a starting player. They're using him as a squad player, as a bit part player. And that's exactly how Manchester United needs to be using Rashford. I'm sorry, but if you can't start for your country, you should not be starting for one of the biggest clubs in the world. You should not. And if you can't knock Raheem Sterling off his perch and force him to go to the right wing where Sterling can play, I'm sorry, but then you should not be starting for Man United. And Marcus Rashford's performances, you know, don't vouch for him to start. And that's one thing I have to commend Gareth Southgate on, is that Gareth Southgate has the ability to make big decisions. And he makes the tough decisions, and he makes the big decisions, and he takes it on his chin if he's wrong. But he's not wrong so far because he's been winning games. But he has that ability to make those tough decisions. Whereas you have a manager at Manchester United that cannot even substitute Marcus Rashford, let alone bench Marcus Rashford, a weak manager that cannot make any tough decision. And I have to commend Gareth Southgate, because to bench a player like Marcus Rashford, who is one of their biggest players, and for there to be no media press around it, you have to commend Gareth Southgate. He's making big decisions. That's a big decision, because Marcus Rashford as a player, his profile is very big. Not on the pitch, he's done nothing on the pitch, but off the pitch, the feeding schemes that he has, the name MBE, that he is. He's a massive figure in England, in Britain. So to bench a player like that, you need a backbone, and you need to believe in yourself, and you need to be a strong individual. And that's what Gareth Southgate has, and I have to commend him on that. And Marcus Rashford needs to play that role that he is playing for his country. He needs to be a squad player for Man United because his overall ability, his overall performances are not good enough, guys. It was shocking to me, and I was so sad to see that Marcus Rashford, what he was doing at Man United, he done the very same thing now when England brought him on. I would have thought that maybe he ironed out these issues. It's running into players. Marcus Rashford for Manchester United last season was running straight into players. And that's what we were criticizing him on. We were saying, Rashford, how can you run into players? Rashford has the ability to be knocked by a parked car. The guy runs into players. I'm talking about running into players with no skill, not doing a step over, not doing a body feint, not doing a little shimmy, running straight into the players and hoping you can run into them and run past them by running into them. And that's what he done for Manchester United. England brought him on in the second half, and the minute he got the ball, he done the exact same thing. So that tells me that Rashford's not working off the pitch. That tells me that he's not working in training. He's not trying to perfect his weaknesses and work on his weaknesses. He's not doing anything, that tells me. And that tells me also the coaches are not picking up on it. So if he's not improving, then England are right to bench him, and they are winning without him. Manchester United need to take the same approach and tell him, look here, if you're not improving on your game and improving on these glaring weaknesses that you have to sit on the bench. And I've got no doubt in my mind, guys, that as the season progresses, you will see Marcus Rashford being benched because Jadon Sancho has come in and he will play on the right wing. Mason Greenwood will go on the bench because we know it's the easiest decision to make. It's an easier decision to make. You won't get the media that will be on you. No one will be on you because Mason Greenwood is a small player. So you can bench Mason Greenwood. That's why Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the Europa final. Marcus Rashford is the worst player on the pitch. Out of 22 players, he was the worst. Yet Ole Gunnar Solskjaer took Mason Greenwood off because that's the easiest option. So Jadon Sancho will come on the right wing. Marcus Rashford will continue performing on the left wing. But I got no doubt in my mind that as the season goes on, probably after maybe 15 games or so forth, you will see Jadon Sancho go to the left wing and Marcus Rashford being benched because the boy is not sorting out the weaknesses that he has. He's not improving on his game. He's the same Marcus Rashford that's making the same wrong decisions time and time again. And that's one of the aspects that Jadon Sancho is so good at, is his decision making. Guys, go and look at the video that I posted about Jadon Sancho when he signed for Manchester United. I said, Jadon Sancho is not the most talented young player out there. He's not. Phil Foden is more talented than him. João Felix is more talented than him. You can even argue Saka may be more talented than him. Maybe. But the thing that puts Jadon Sancho on the level of a João Felix, on the level of a Phil Foden, is his decision making. Jadon Sancho makes the right decisions the right time. He never makes wrong decisions. He never passes when he needs to shoot or shoots when he needs to pass. He never makes those decisions. And decision making comes from football IQ. It's having a high level of IQ, and that's what Jadon Sancho has. He has a high level of IQ. In the moments where he's in the final third of the pitch and where the game is fast paced, and many players in that moment on the final third of the pitch where they have to make a final pass or they have to make the decision where they need to shoot. For many players in that moment, the pitch and that moment goes hazy. It goes grey, they don't really know what to do. Raheem Sterling is a player like that. Gabriel Jesus is a player like that. And there's many other players. Marcus Rashford is another one like that. But Jadon Sancho's not like that. The minute he gets into those situations in the final third where he has to make the last pass or a shot, he sees the game in HD and the game almost slows down. He has the ability to make the right decisions at the right time, and that's what puts him on the level of those talented players that are more talented than him. So we've got a very good player on our hands, and if Rashford doesn't improve his game, as I said, towards the middle of the season, you will see Rashford going on the bench because it's unacceptable. The boy is 23 going on 24, around there, and he's still running into players. I mean, we played football at a very low level, growing up, and when we were 13, we stopped running into players. When we were playing under 7s, under 9s, we were running into players. But when you're 13 years old, you know that you can't run through a player. You know that if you're going to take this player on, you're going to have to use a bit of skill. You're going to have to do a step over. You're going to have to do a little shimmy or a drop of the shoulder. But you can't just run through him. We stopped that at 13 years old. Rashford is 23, 24, still running into players. It's alarming. So Jadon Sancho, I'm excited to see him, but I've also managed my expectations, and I advise you also manage your expectations, lower your expectations on Jadon Sancho. He's a very good player, but he's not going to be the player that he was at Dortmund. I told you the two factors. Number one is the Bundesliga versus the Premier League. Number two, it's Dortmund versus Man United. Dortmund got a world-class system. Man United don't have a system. Dortmund get the best out of their players. Manchester United get the worst out of their players. And that's just a proven fact. And that's what I expect from Man United. I don't expect that to change because the coaching's not changed. You can't expect it to change if the coaching's not changed. So that's what's going to happen, guys. We just have to hope that Jadon Sancho can bring out that individual brilliance, which he does have. We saw also against the game now against Ukraine, there were moments where you saw his individual brilliance. There were moments where he skipped past two players. That's what he can give you. He's very nimble. He's very quick with his feet. He has dribbling ability that can get out of situations. And we've got two other players like that can get out of tight situations. Martial, Pogba. Very good in getting out of tight situations. Very good at beating 2-3 players. Jadon Sancho brings that. So Manchester United will be better with the signing of Jadon Sancho because he brings individual brilliance, which is what our system is. Individual brilliance, just players doing what they can do. So overall, guys, average performance from Jadon Sancho. England versus Denmark semi-final. I don't expect Jadon Sancho to start because he did not stake a strong enough claim for that position. I do expect Saka to start because Saka performed better than Foden and Sancho. And I feel that if Saka has just a standard performance or a good performance, I think that he'll go on to the final as well, because Foden and Sancho have not made a strong claim for that position. I don't think we're going to see any more of Jadon Sancho in this competition personally. We know that Southgate got something against him, just like how Southgate got something against Jack Grealish. That's just the situation. Jadon Sancho is good enough to be playing in that England team. He's not because Southgate got his issues. But I can't wait to see him in a United shirt. I don't know if he's going to wear the number 7 or what. I think Cavani may give it over to him, or Cavani may stay with it for another season. I don't really matter as long as by next season he's wearing that number 7. That's my verdict on Jadon Sancho, guys. If you're watching this video, you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and I'll see you. Peace.